Your YouTube channel is killing your business growth and you might not even know about it. You probably think you're doing YouTube right because you're getting views, building an audience and creating valuable content, but here's what you might not realize. You're making mistakes that actively repel qualified prospects while attracting time wasters who will never buy. I've analyzed hundreds of business YouTube channels and the ones making serious money aren't just avoiding the obvious mistakes. They're aware of spotting the tiny details that might make or break their channel. And in this video, I'm gonna expose 7 fatal mistakes that are costing you qualified leads every single day, so you understand exactly why your content attracts viewers but repels buyers, and most importantly, how to identify and fix them before ever clicking upload. The first mistake is what I call the expert paradox, and it's the opposite of what most advice tells you. Probably you think that demonstrating deep expertise will attract more clients, so you create content packed with advanced concepts, industry jargon and complex frameworks. You assume your audience has the same level of understanding, but here's what actually happens. You lose prospects who feel stupid listening to you. When somebody is searching for a solution to their problem, they're typically 2 to 3 steps behind where you think they are. If you skip the foundational explanation because they seem obvious to you, your ideal client feels overwhelmed and clicks away. Your undiscovered knowledge becomes a barrier instead of an asset. Take Alex Hormozi as an example. Early in his YouTube journey, he would dive deep into complex business concepts without setting proper context. His viewers felt lost. Once he started explaining foundational concepts, first by defining terms like LTV, lifetime value, and CAC, cost to acquire customer, before using them, his content became more accessible, but also deep enough to offer proper value. The solution isn't to dumb down your content, it's to meet your audience where they're at and guide them to where you want them to be. Start with the problem they know they have, not the solution you know they need. The second mistake is creating safe content that follows all the best practices so closely that you sound exactly like everyone in your space. You might avoid controversial takes, strong opinions or polarizing statements because you think it will hurt your reach. You want to appeal to everyone, so you create vanilla content that offends nobody, and that sounds completely reasonable on the surface, but here's what's below the iceberg. If your content could be posted by any of your competitors without anyone noticing the difference, you'll have a differentiation problem. Generic advice creates generic results. When you're afraid to take a stand, you blend into the background noise of your industry, meaning you become another one's commodity. Look at Ali Abdaal's transformation. For years he created safe productivity content that was helpful but forgettable. But once he started sharing controversial takes like productivity is overrated or challenging popular productivity myths, his content skyrocketed and his business exploded. The most successful business channels take clear positions that their ideal clients love and their non-ideal clients hate. You should be willing to annoy the wrong people to attract the right people and create a content filter. The people who disagree with your stand should self-select out, while the people who resonate should feel like you're speaking directly to them. By the way, if you want to avoid these mistakes without having to figure out all the details yourself, check the first link in the description where we handle the entire content creation process for business owners just like you. The third mistake is how business owners handle call to actions in their content. Most creators make one of 2 errors. They either have no call to action at all or end with "thanks for watching, see you next time," or they use aggressive direct sales pitches that trigger immediate resistance. Both kill conversions, but for different reasons. No call to action means you're creating content charity. You're giving away value without directing people towards your business. You're essentially training your audience to consume your content for free, get insane value, but still miss out on the execution part. It's a lose-lose for everyone involved. On the contrary, direct call to actions like "book a call with me now" or "check out my program in the description" trigger sale resistance. Your audience guard goes up, the moment they realize you're trying to sell them something. Instead of commanding action, you should suggest your offer as a natural extension of the value just provided. The difference is subtle but powerful. The first feels like a pitch, while the second one feels helpful information. Mistake number 4. Ignoring the implementation. Most businesses create content assuming that knowledge leads to action. They think if they just give people enough information, those people will naturally implement it and then come back to buy their services. But here's what research shows. There's a massive gap between knowing what to do and actually doing it. Your prospects already know they should be doing most of what you're teaching. The problem isn't more information, it's implementation. The solution isn't to acknowledge this gap directly in your content. Instead of just teaching what to do, address why people don't do it and what bridges that gap. Look at how Alex Hormozi structures his business advice. He doesn't just tell you to raise your prices, he explains why most people are terrified to raise their prices, the psychological barriers they face, and the specific mindset shifts needed to overcome that fear. He'll address the fear of losing customers, the imposter syndrome of who am I to charge this much, and the limiting belief that higher prices means fewer sales. He breaks down exactly why these fears exist and how they're usually based on false assumptions. As a rule of thumb, address the implementation first, then provide the solution. The fifth mistake is using the wrong content structure for business buyers. Most business creators structure their videos like default content, starting with a hook, delivering value, and ending with a casual goodbye. But business buyers have different psychological needs than entertainment seekers. They need to answer 3 questions before they'll even consider working with you. Why should I listen to you? What will I get from this? And how will you deliver on that promise? It's proof, promise, plan. Proof establishes credibility immediately. Promise creates clarity about value, and plan provides a roadmap for the content. Most creators skip the proof element entirely or leave it at the end, but business buyers, especially high-ticket services, make trust decisions within the first 8 seconds of your video. Ali Abdaal has learned this the hard way and now structures his business content completely different. Instead of starting with generic advice, here's how to build a personal brand. He opens with proof. After building my YouTube channel to 5 million subscribers and turning it into a multi-million-dollar business, I've learned that most people get personal branding completely wrong. He established proof, made a promise, and outlined a plan all in 15 seconds. Mistake number 6. Poor micro commitments. Most business owners think conversion happens at the call to action, but conversions actually happen through dozens of tiny moments throughout your entire video. A micro commitment is any moment where a viewer mentally agrees with something you said. It could be nodding their head, thinking that's exactly right, or recognizing themselves in an example. Every micro commitment makes the next one more likely. When someone agrees with you once, they're more inclined to agree with you again. And by the time you get to your call to action, they've already said yes to you 15 or 20 times. But most creators accidentally create micro resistance instead of micro commitment. They make claims that their audience questions, share examples their audience can't relate to, or use logic their audience disagrees with. Look at Hamza Ahmed's channel evolution, a big figure in the self-help niche. He was switching between different audiences from bro talk to deep psychological content to hyper-edited brain rot. His viewers never knew which version they were getting. Some might agree with the information but also get rejected because it wasn't the same person they believed in the first place. The solution isn't to review micro commitments intentionally throughout the video, but every 30 to 45 seconds, ask yourself, does this moment make my ideal viewer think, yes, that's exactly my situation, or that makes sense? You need to know your ideal client better than they could ever do. And mistake number 7, not understanding the buyer psychology. Most business owners create content using the same psychology that works for consumer purchases, but business buyers, especially for high-ticket services, have completely different decision-making processes. Consumer purchases are often emotional and impulsive. Business purchases are logical and considered. Consumer buyers worry about whether they like the product. Business buyers worry about whether the product will deliver ROI and whether the provider can actually execute. This means your content needs different emotional triggers, different proof elements, and different persuasion frameworks. For example, being vulnerable works great for building personal brands, but too much too early can signal incompetence to business buyers. They need to believe you can solve their problem before they care about your journey. Iman Ghazi is a perfect example of understanding this psychology. His content never feels pushy or salesy, but it consistently demonstrates competence and results. He shares just enough vulnerability to be relatable without undermining his authority. Your content style must match your price point and your buyer sophistication level. High-ticket business buyers expect different content than low-ticket consumers. But I understand that identifying these mistakes in your own content and implementing these frameworks while maintaining your consistency and quality can feel overwhelming. That's exactly why we developed our done-for-you YouTube system. We don't just handle the production, we analyze your ideal client, script content that moves prospects throughout your funnel, and make videos that convert viewers into qualified sales calls. If you're ready to stop creating content charity and start turning your YouTube channel into a predictable lead generation machine, click the first link in the description to see how we can help you avoid these fatal mistakes while adding 10 to 30 qualified sales calls for your business. And if you want to know how to create killer thumbnails, click this video here and enjoy.